Hello, everyone. Welcome to Elevating Your Life with Paula Vail. I have with us today a really fun guest. We're going to have fun. We have Gramps Jeffrey. He is the author of a recent children's book, I Don't Want to Turn 3. I love that title. It explores what goes through a toddler's mind that parents are desperate to understand. It's based on the true experiences he has had with his 6 grandchildren. Now, Gramps Jeffrey is the pen name for Marc Joseph. And actually, Marc's first book, The Secrets of Retailing: How to Beat Wal-Mart, was written to help entrepreneurs and small businesses compete against the big guys. Arianna Huffington read his book and asked him to contribute to the Huffington Post. He has written over 100 articles about small businesses, education, the homeless, and other nonprofit topics dear to us. I so love that. I so love that, Gramps, being a restaurant manager and owner in my earlier years. Oh, I love that you did that. So I'm excited to hear about both your books today. But first off, welcome, Gramps, from Grammy.
So much. I appreciate you inviting me. Thanks for asking me on.
Oh, I'm excited. And I love your new book. It's fun. I'm going to share it with the grandkids on Grammy time next week. So happy to have you here. Well, tell us a bit of your background, Gramps, and kind of what was behind writing these books.
Well, if we want to talk about maybe why I wrote this book to start with, because this is the current book that's going on, living this past year because of the pandemic caused by COVID-19 in isolation, except for being able to be with my kids and my family, gave me a special time to watch and interact with these grandkids. And I got to tell you what a trip that was. All 6, I've got 6 grandkids with 3 of my daughters, each of them have 2. They all have different personalities. The one thing they do have in common is their sense of curiosity. And how excited they get when they do accomplish something. Watching them grow year to year and how they interact with each other is really the basis for this book. So as a baby boomer, I was trying to understand how the world really has evolved since I was 3 years old, and it's also part of this story. My parents, they didn't have cell phones, they didn't have the internet, they didn't have cable TV, they didn't have the remotes. In fact, I was my dad's remote. He says, "Son, go change the channel." So I became the remote. My parents' definition of discipline, obviously, is quite different from the parents of today. Has today's world made for better place for these children to grow up in? I'll let your listeners kind of answer that. Were you treated differently, and how were you treated growing up compared to how we treat the kids today? So you ask, and I wrote this book for these grandkids. The reaction really has been invaluable. As you watch him understand Jordan's discovery of right versus wrong. Jordan is the star in the book. He's the one that's turning from 2 to 3. You can see that the older kids, they've gone through the same kind of a dilemma. And the younger kids don't really quite understand the concept of sharing, because that's what the book's all about, is sharing. And so this whole experience for me has just been priceless.
Yes. And, that's such a great theme and topic, because that is something that our children learn. It is. It's a big step when they take that.
Well, if you even put it in our sense, what age do we really take responsibility for our actions? Is it 3 years old? Is it 13? Is it 23? I know some of my contemporaries who are 63 and they still don't take, responsibility for their actions. So, that's really, it's exploring that.
Older too.
Yeah, and if you think about it, this happens in every family in the world, not just America, in the world. When is it that we really are able to start the kids to take responsibility and start to share and think more of us rather than just me? When is it?
Yes. And oh my gosh. And when we realize and take steps to go beyond ourselves and share the gift we give ourselves is so great. The happiness and the joy in sharing with others and giving others some happiness. That is just a great thing for a child to learn.
Yeah, and it really becomes, we're kind of exploring this from the world of grandparents, you and me, and we hope that we have raised our kids so that they raise their kids the right way. So we look at it a little bit differently. We luckily for us, we can be with them and give them back. Like for instance, I had 4 of them last weekend. 2 of them flew in. I've got 2 kids here with me in Scottsdale, 2 in Austin, Texas, and 2 in Orlando. And the family from Austin flew in. So I had all 4 of them here in the house for the whole time. So as grandparents, we try to make sure that they have a good time. And I got to tell you, when they were ready to take their naps, I was ready to take my nap. It's not easy. Luckily, because we're grandparents, we can give them back. But we've got to make sure that as grandparents, what we are doing, we are just really reinforcing what our children are telling them to do. Whether it's the way they discipline them, whether it's the way they talk to them, we've got to be able to support that. When you think about it, and it's that famous book, it takes a village to raise a family. It really does. And especially, if the family's broken in some way, it just takes all of us as grandparents to pitch in and help and, make sure that we are supporting our kids so these kids can grow up in the way that we want them to grow up.
Yes. And, my grandchildren time is like, it's just so much fun for me. And I've thought of it over the years as a way of, when I was raising my kids, it was so important for me to be a good, loving, caring parent. But I also had all the weight on my shoulders of providing the food and the clothing and doing, whereas a grandparent, there's more of just having fun and sharing them. And I'm with you, after a sleepover, I'm tired the next day, but it's so fun. A couple of years ago, my granddaughter said something to me that I will forever say is the best compliment I ever got. Someday, Grammy, when I have a dog, I'm going to name it Paula. You don't get a better compliment than that.
Well,
out of their mouths.
Yeah. The kids really remember. We've got to provide them for times that they remember. If you ask your child when they're 20 and 30, what are your best memories? They remember stuff, good and bad. Like for instance, a couple of weeks ago, I had the 2 kids here from Scottsdale for a couple of days over where their parents went on a little vacation. So we had a great time with them. We did it all what the grandparents do. We're here in Arizona. We went swimming. We went to the park. We went to the zoo. We played video games. We did everything. We played card games and board games. And we did everything that we want to make sure they have great memories of. Well, Saturday night, my wife wanted Levi, who is 6, to try something new for dinner. And he says, no, I'm not going to do it. Well, she got irate. She says, I am not going to let you watch TV unless you eat this. Okay. So we dropped off the kids the next day to their parents, and Olivia, the 9-year-old, said, oh, we had a great time. We went to the park. We went swimming. The only thing that Levi remembered from this fabulous weekend is Grandma made me eat something I didn't want to eat. I can guarantee you that, when he's 20 years old, he's going to remember that. So, we've got to, as grandparents, we've got to provide, not only the bad stuff, but enough good stuff to outweigh it.
Yes. And really, a big part of our role as grandparents, we are memory creators. Oh my gosh, the memories we're creating. So is this time, that you've had being a grandparent, is that what really triggered you? What came to you to say, I'm going to write a book, a children's book? What triggered that? Gramps?
Well, yeah, we just went through a period of COVID-19 where we were just so isolated and we were so alone. And so to me, it brought home to me how important family is, because it really is. I mean, we all remember the news where parents couldn't touch, they couldn't be with each other. So that's really what motivated me was, here's a time that's so unusual. Hopefully it will never happen again within our children's lifetime. And so that's what did it for me. But as importantly, you were talking about what do grandparents do, and it's really important for us to teach our children to read books, and it doesn't have to be my book. There's 100 great books out there. Just mine could be one of them, but you can there are a lot of great books to read out there. So it's important for you as grandparents to take the time to encourage these kids to read books, because they're so busy on their iPads and and their iPhones, and they're so doing, we've got to pull them away from that. And so if you think about it, the benefits of reading to these grandchildren and your children, they're just so great. For instance, there's a tremendous bonding time. Okay, when you actually let them pick out the book. I mean, I'm sure we all have lots of books. Let the kids pick out the book, and then let them bring it to you. And that time you spend together, that's really quiet time. Nobody's going to interrupt you. That's a chance for you to bond with these kids, and really for them to remember. I can tell you that if you ask your children, what was your favorite book when you were a kid, they'll tell you. And they will tell you who read it to them and what happened and so forth. So we need to teach our kids to take the time to read for the bonding. And the other thing that's good about reading to kids, it helps support listening skills. Now, you and I know as adults and gone through all this, the listening skill is probably the best skill we can learn. When it's all said and done, everything goes on in life, those of us that can listen really are the ones that do get ahead. And so you've got to teach these kids that, the reading books has a chance teaching the skill of listening and doing that. The other thing for reading books to kids is the cognitive and the development of language. It helps them expand the number of words they learn, the kinds of words they learn. So it's important for us as grandparents to sit down and do all the reading with these kids. And then one of the things, the bypasses of this is, attention span. Little kids like to run around, but you get a good book, you get a good story, you get a good bonding, and their attention span with you just expands. So I encourage all of your listeners to make that effort to read books with their grandchildren. If you don't do anything else, read some of the classic books with them. In the long run, again, when you ask them, they're 20, 30 years old, they're going to remember that. And that's what you want.
Yes, yes. And it's so great to read a book with them and then discuss it, chat about it, or we've even, okay, let's draw a picture. Let's draw that. So many things can come out of that.
Oh, you're so right about that. When before you read a book, you should say to your children, what do you think is going to happen in this book? They pick out the book, they bring it over to you, they see before you even open the front page, say, what's going to happen in this book? And then while you're reading to the children during the book time is, you want to say, who are the characters of this book? Who are the stars? Who are the ones, people in this? Where is it? What's the setting? Again, it helps expand their mind, beyond their little bedroom. What are the characters? Who is the setting? And then as the book goes on, and it's especially easy in my book, because again, what happens in my book happens in every family. But does anything in this book sound familiar to you? Just stop and ask the child. Does anything sound familiar? Have you gone through this? Have you seen that? And then when it was all over, close the book and say, what was your favorite part of the book? So you're absolutely right. This whole reading of books can start this conversation that just helps grow these kids quietly. They don't even know what's hitting them.
Yes, yes. And the title you came up with is so great. I don't want to turn 3, because 2 is so much fun, and I just want to stay here. And really, that kind of hits us all through life, doesn't it?
Yeah, in fact, want me to read a page from the book?
Yes. Oh, I would
Okay.
love that. Yes.
Okay. So here's for the audience. This is what the book looks like. Okay. And I'll just read one of the pages. It's about my 6 grandchildren. This is based on a true story. In fact, when you take a look at the pictures and so forth, they were all real pictures. That's a picture in the book. These are all real pictures that I sent to the artist that I had taken. And she went ahead and put it into the kind of cartoon book. So this is in the middle of the book. This kind of gives you a feel for the interaction and so forth. So here, I'll show you the picture of the page I'm going to read right there. That's Olivia looking at the pile of stuff. And she says, then all of a sudden, Olivia screams, what are my dancing shoes doing in Jordan's room? The entire family runs to my private bedroom, and Jackson yells, my dinosaurs. And Levi shrieks, my sea creatures. And Baker bawls, truck. And Grace cries, my dolls. And Mommy looks at me like today will be my last day alive. So that kind of gives you a feel for what kind of interaction is in the book. So it's based on a true story. And so that's how I got the book.
And the way it ends, oh my gosh, it's beautiful. Just beautiful.
Yeah, we're not getting the ending in the
No,
story.
we're not.
No, we're not. But
yeah.
But and again, it's something that every family relates to. That's why it was so much fun. We're talking about who should read the book and so forth. I was telling you I had the 4 kids over here last weekend. So Olivia, who's 9, and obviously the older, she grabbed the book and she said to the other 3, let's go read this book. So they actually went underneath my desk. The 4 of them were sitting underneath my desk. And they didn't know I was in the corner there kind of watching them and listening to them. And so Olivia was reading this book, and then, Levi says, that's me in the bathtub. I'm in the bathtub. and Jackson says, that's me with my dinosaurs. That's me. So it's just, it's just so much fun, when you write a book and then they can actually relate to it. Yes. So I just tell you that.
Oh, I can just imagine how they feel. Yeah, that's me in Gramps' book. I'm in Gramps' book.
Well, an even better story is on Friday, Olivia's class, they had to read a book to the class, and they had to dress up like the character in the book. So in this book, she's wearing a pink dress. So she put on her pink dress, she took in the book, and she read it to her class.
Oh, that's priceless.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. Oh, what a memory for her.
Yeah, and we're talking about creating memories. Yes. She'll remember this when she's my age, I hope.
Yes. Oh my gosh, I love it. I love it. Well, you obviously have had so much fun creating this book, and it's just a fun, awesome read. It's a great message, beautiful ending. And I've ordered several copies, and I'm like, because I want to not just give it to grandkids, but to, my nephew's kids. And it's like, I don't want to wait till Christmas. But how fun. And, it's pretty cool how, our grandkids, we not only influence them, they influence us. It's amazing.
Well, the other thing we've got to keep in mind is we've got to get involved with our grandchildren's lives. I mean, and we're the ones that have to take the initiative. They're not going to be the ones that take the initiative. We have to. And why do we need to do that? Well, they're only young once. Those 18 years, as we know with our own children, they go very quickly. So, you've only got a small shot. You think it's only a couple decades that you can really interact with your kids, and they're gone. And so it matters to you. And the future really is unpredictable. I mean, we hope we're going to live forever, but we may not. Same thing with the kids. It's just, so you got to take it one day at a time. You got to jump in there now. You can't put this off for some other time. It's good to become part of the routine of these kids. because you do want to have an influence. I mean, you want to be able to say that you made something different. So, and again, you can't be afraid to initiate. Let me tell you a story. This is, for some reason, 2 and 3 and 4-year-old kids love dinosaurs. I don't know why. They all do. Every one of them. You go down to talk to your neighbor kids. They all love dinosaurs. I mean, mine can tell you, the names of the dinosaurs, whether they eat meat or whether they eat vegetables. I can tell you a small, medium size dinosaur. That's about as much as I know. They know it all. So it really is a bonding thing between us and the kids. It's this whole dinosaur thing. So during the year of COVID, where we didn't really have a chance to see them very little bit, we wanted to create some kind of adventures where they remember us, because when you're 2 and 3, 4 years old, you forget people very quickly. And so what we did is we've got half a dozen dinosaurs at our house, and we decided that every night they were going to have a different adventure around our house. So for instance, they were in our refrigerator eating the blueberries. And then the next night they were at the washing the dishes with grandma, and they had soap on their noses. And then another night they were playing the piano. Another night they were walking up steps, and so forth and so forth. And we put together 50 different nights of where these dinosaurs were doing something different in our house. And so what that created was, it created, the kids were so excited, what are the dinosaurs doing tonight, that they started calling us. And so, my wife has an iPhone, so she could do the FaceTime. And so they would call, and she would answer the phone and says, "Where's Gramps? Where's Gramps? We got to find out what the dinosaurs are doing tonight." So we get the call from Orlando. We get the call every night. It was like clockwork. Orlando, and one from Austin. And every night we had them someplace else in the house doing something. And so that was our way of bonding during this craziness of COVID. And I am sure that your listeners can come up with different other ideas, because it's got to be simple. Dinosaurs is what they love, whether I like them or not. Hey, let's put them all over the house.
Just simple fun. That's something that our kids and our grandkids teach us. Just simple fun. And
right. Yeah, it's the days of innocence. Don't you wish we had those days of innocence back?
And that honesty, I'll never forget. I love music, and I've been told, Grammy, I've told my friends that when you hear a song you like, you dance. Well, we have dance parties and I'm singing, and one time I'm like, oh, I should have been a singer. No. I love to sing, but I don't have the voice for a singer. But I mean, there's just the honesty, and you just got to have fun with that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Oh my gosh. Well, listen, Gramps, tell everyone where they can learn more about you and about both your books, and connect with you. Please share that with us.
No problem. The first book is called The Secrets of Retailing: How to Beat Walmart. And you can find it everywhere except for Walmart. It's not in Walmart. Can you believe that? But you can find it in Amazon and all the other major stores on the internet. The book that we're talking about is I Don't Want to Turn 3. And it's on Amazon and Target, Barnes and Noble. You can get it anywhere on the internet also, or come to one of my sites. One site is Gramps Jeffrey, JEFFREY.com. And the other site is I Don't Want to Turn 3.com. And I encourage, if any of your listeners like to reach out to me, it's grampsjeffrey@gmail.com. Please, I'd love to talk to you about anything.
I love it. With just a few minutes left in the show, what last words do you want to share with us, Gramps?
Well, we got to keep in mind that it's necessary to teach children how to think, but we really can't teach them what to think. That's how they really grow up. We want to give them, teach them how to think, and then let them learn what to think. Because what happens when you love, you will teach others to love, and that'll come through. So that's what I would urge any of your listeners, is to just keep those kids, teach them how to think, ask them questions, let them learn how to think. Because as you grow older, that's what's going to, along with your listening skills, that's what's going to drive you to success.
Oh, I love it. I I love it. Gramps Jeffrey, you are awesome. And I am just so thrilled to have you on the show and share this fun book that you've created and just this great chat. This has been so great.
Oh, thank you so much for inviting me.
To everyone out there, thank you for joining us. And I hope you all had a little bit of a laugh as we did and enjoyed and just loved it. Check out Gramps' book. It's a lot of fun. And thank you, Gramps. I'm really grateful.
Great. Thank you.
And to everyone also, happy holidays. The holidays are coming fast. So love, hugs, and blessings. Thank you, everybody.